Emotions are our friends. They are tiny indicators revealing what we're thinking, and they are truly present to assist us on our journey of life. In this episode, we decode emotions and use them for our good. This is definitely a life course in the making. Until then, tune in as we speak about befriending our emotions. I'm Tashima Jones. Welcome to LifeClub. I genuinely believe personal development unlocks the door to the abundant and wonderful life we all already have. I also believe we must be intentional about seeking out that life in order to find and fulfill it. I am so grateful your journey of discovery has led you all the way here. Let's keep moving forward together. Once again, welcome to LifeClub with me, Tashima Jones. Hello, welcome. You are tuned in to LifeClub with me, Tashima Jones, and my homegirl, Sunny, on the boards. First of all, Sunny, I missed you last week.
I missed you too.
OMG. But we had a great show, and I'm looking forward to have an even greater show today. We are speaking about our emotions. All of us, from toddlers to our beloved seniors, encounter this idea of emotions. What in the world are they? Do they serve as intuition? What's the difference between them and feelings? Do men have the same emotional IQ as women? OMG. So many questions, and we only have an hour to speak about it.
I know. Like when you just said, do men have the same? I just went down a Rolodex in my mind. I was like, I don't know about that one. We're going to have to dive into that.
Yes. Questions. In this show, we are going to shed some light on what emotions are and how to use them for our good. You know, I always say when we know a definition of a thing, we are able to use it properly. So I have to start out with the definition of emotion. It is literally energy in motion, and it's derived from the Latin word emotere. The root word mot, M-O-T, means to move. It's why our emotions are constantly shifting. It reminds me of kinetic energy, and that is simply the energy a body possesses by virtue of being in motion. The fact that you are moving, you are creating energy, you are emitting energy, and we know that energy never dies. We are alive, and even when we sleep, we are still moving. Our blood is still flowing through our hearts and brain, and every cell is constantly at work. We literally have like over 30 trillion or something like that antibodies. Like our entire, I feel like I was just about to pop, lock, and drop.
That's what your stuff is doing on the inside. They in there like, hey,
pop,
what's
lock,
going
and drop.
on?
Hey.
Yes.
Anywho, so our we are constantly in motion, and one of the things that really hit me like an aha moment that I've had a few years ago was that emotions are to the soul what skin is to the body. And what I mean by this is our skin tends to react to the external elements of the environment that we're in. So consider the weather, whether it's hot, cold, summer, or winter. These things cause our body's temperature to shift, and the first impact they have is on our skin. That impact then moves us to get a sweater or take off a layer, depending on what season we're in. The interesting thing is that while we all have like this base temperature of like 98.6 degrees, we all react to certain temperatures differently.
Right.
For example, me and Jay, aka Justice, my son, could be in the same room, and I would want like a sweater and some leggings with like Uggs, and then he's good just hanging out in a t-shirt and some shorts with no socks on, just chilling, literally. So our emotions really are this reaction to our environment. Now, the environment that, we speak of when we speak about emotions is our thought life. Like that is that atmosphere. That is what we would consider the weather. So kind of like when we recognize that our emotions are indicators of what we're thinking, we can then befriend our emotions.
Right.
We can literally use them for our good.
Right. I think a lot of people are often misguided by the use or how to use their emotions. They may feel, let's say, anger and then act out irrationally, thinking that's the proper response to anger, or even fear. You know, anytime you feel an emotion, whatever is kicking up, it's only kicking up for you to actually acknowledge that you feel it, you know, and then do something about it, not really react. I think a lot of people are in the mind, you know, we're trained though, as, you know, human beings. It's natural to have like a reflex almost to say, oh my God, this happened, react. But in this level, in this stage, we need to really like look and say, hey, I felt that. What was it? Why did I react that way to it? Versus just having an emotion, what we would call an emotional response, like lashing out because you're in a bad mood. You know, you really need to identify, why am I in a bad mood? Like what led me to this space, and how do I get out of it? Like, where is this coming from?
And the interesting thing about it is that what I've discovered is that our emotions, number one, are our friends. They are our friends. And they are supposed to move us. Again, it's energy and motion. Right. So by definition, they are supposed to move us. They are supposed to cause an action on our part. They are supposed to do those things. However, we've kind of allowed our emotions to lead us instead of allowing our emotions to move us. And there's a difference. Right. There truly is a difference in being led by your emotions and being moved by your emotions. So again, like, our emotions truly shed light on what we're thinking.
They're your partners in crime. Even when you're happy.
Our partners in life.
Well, not crime, sorry.
Because we are so aware and conscious of our words. We understand the power of our words on LifeClub.
But it's a crime to be beautiful. Sorry, go ahead.
So our emotions are supposed to move us. And the reality of it is that at some point in humanity, there was a shift from our thoughts leading us and our state of mind, and even more specifically our being spirit led. It turned into like this outward in situation instead of inward moving out. Right. You know what I mean? So our emotions are our friends. They are supposed to move us. But the thing about it is that we have to understand and we have to question ourselves on what's governing our emotions. Right. Because that's the root of the thing. What is governing our emotions? What is that system of belief, that system of thinking that we are allowing to impact our emotions to move us? Right. So the trail in my beautiful mind is that you have a thought, you meditate on that thought, and that thought becomes a part of your thinking, and it becomes a part of your beliefs, and then your beliefs impact your emotions, and then your emotions move you to act and to bring something from spirit world into the natural and create, reproduce, multiply, all that good stuff, bear fruit, right? So in my mind, that's the course. That is the system that we are supposed to live on. And like I said, at some point it was scrambled. At some point we were just like in this state of confusion where we thought, okay, we're supposed to be led by our emotions. Again, emotions, energy in motion. And we have to ask ourselves, what is the root of our emotions? And that will lead us into the root of our thinking. So even this morning, I had this thing and I'm like, you know what? Something happened. And I'm like, instead of reacting immediately, I'm like, okay, what is the solution? What is this telling me about my emotions? What are my emotions telling me about my thoughts? And it just kind of led me to this reality of our dreams. You know how you have a dream? And like, depending on the nature of that dream, you wake up feeling some type of way. So we're just going to have like a good dream. So imagine you know, there's this dream that I think all of us have had once in our lives where we are holding like a wad of money. Yes. And you holding on to that money, and then you wake up and your hand is
you smelt it
tight. Like, your hands is like still holding the money, and you look in your hand and the money is not there. And then it's just like it really causes a shift in how you feel.
That's real betrayal.
Where'd the money go? Where did it go? So even in that instant, like that dream, like at one point we could feel, and I truly believe that you have emotions even in your sleep. Emotions really display your perception of reality. right? So if you have this perception of reality rooted in love, then your emotions are truly governed by love.
Right. That's your dictator right there. That's what's leading you.
And if your emotions are rooted in fear, then it reveals that your perceived, I guess, idea of reality is negative.
Fear-based.
So what I have learned in my personal journey is that I have been connected, and I just see the matrix right now. Like, you know, that little plug that was in the back of them. Like, I have literally been connected to this foundation of fear for such a long time in my life. And going through this, like, you know, path of enlightenment and understanding what I was connected to, and then being uprooted from that and connected to this whole new world of that's just rooted and based in love. Now I'm recognizing that my emotions have to follow. Because it's this thing that we go through where it's like, you know how you could be sitting, everything feels peaceful, but you find something to just throw you back into anxiety or into depression or to just feeling some type of way about life. And the reality of it is that peace is our natural disposition.
Right.
But when you're connected to this foundation of fear for so long, you don't even feel right being relaxed.
It feels off. You're like, what's missing? What's about to happen? Hey, you know?
Right?
Yeah.
And so now it's like we find ourselves, once we go through this enlightenment, once we get reconnected with love, once we get reconnected to the life force and to spirit, it's like, okay, now my emotions have to follow. So sometimes we have like this conflict in ourselves when it's like, well, why do I feel this way? Or why am I thinking these thoughts? And why aren't my thoughts aligning with my emotions and the other way around? And the reality of it is that we have to go back to the source that's governing our thoughts. Because when you are real with yourself, because, fear is a thought. Fear is a system of thinking. Fear is a system of belief. And that fear and that feeling of unrest and that feeling of conflict and war will literally impact every area of your life. It'll impact how you see your finances. It'll impact how you see your relationships. It'll impact how you see your future.
Right.
It'll impact even how you see your past. So we have to really be real with ourselves and ask ourselves, what's governing my thoughts?
Right.
What's governing my perception of life? What's governing my perception of reality? Because whatever that energy is that's governing you, you will get those results in your life.
Right.
You'll get those results in your life. So once you understand the foundation upon which you live your life, you can change your life. And that's the beauty of it. You can literally renew your mind and renew your life. And again, it goes back to that space of vulnerability, that space of authenticity, and that space of being vulnerable enough to answer that question,
Right.
to receive the answer to that question. Because I think sometimes we try to change our lives from the outside in. We try to get material things. We try to get another degree. We try to get another job. We try to get another boo or bae. We just try to really just change our lives from the outside in. And that, just tying it all back into emotions, we are allowing the environment to impact our emotions instead of allowing our emotions that is rooted in a thought based on love. And we move based on that, based on love impacting our emotions, and then allowing our emotions to move us into the way that we should go. Instead of us doing that, we're allowing our outside environment to impact our emotions. Let me tell you something about the human being. We are so powerful beyond what sometimes we can really understand. And our natural disposition and our natural purpose is to impact Earth. It is to cause a shift. Every building, every cell phone, every car, every computer, even money itself was created by a human being.
Right.
It was created by a human being having a thought, pulling that thought out from spirit world, and being a conduit of change and creating that thing in the earth. It's so amazing how literally everything that we see besides nature itself was once a thought in the heart and mind of man.
Right.
Like, we just need to breathe on that reality.
And don't take it for granted. I think a lot of people don't create because they take that part for granted. The process of creation really is just a thought. and then manifesting it beyond that point. It's just saying, I'm going to take this thought and I'm going to create something. Every human being has that power. It's not like someone else, the guy who created the cell phone is smarter than you. It was that he put his thought into action. He took it to the next level. He didn't just allow it to just be a thought in his mind and say, hey, that was great.
Yes.
I like the idea of this.
Yes.
He took it to the next level and he put it into action mode. And that's how you manifest. That's the power of controlling your emotions, because those thoughts are emotions too, because you get excited when you have good ideas. You be like, oh,
yes,
I'm kind of smart. Okay, maybe I need to write that down.
I heard you. Yes.
But then what's the next step?
And again, letting our emotions be impacted by the thought, be impacted by the thinking of, our belief system, causing us to move on something, causing us to act on something.
Right.
Again, we got it twisted. Like, we're allowing, what we see. We even allow the weather to change our whole mood and our whole situation. And it's just like, we have to stop living from the outside in and live from the inside out, and really allowing our emotions. Like the word inspiration means in spirit.
Right.
It's like inspiration. That's why you just feel like when you're inspired, you are motivated. You are motivated to change. You are motivated to act. Like,
you're saying motivated over and over, and I'm seeing movement,
yes,
go,
yes,
go.
M-O-T, mote.
There you go.
Like,
yeah.
you, like, remote, change the channel. Yep. Like, movement,
yep.
And as when you speak about dreams and you speak about visions, you speak about people, having this vision on the inside of them, or this idea on the inside of them, you need to sprinkle some emotion on that idea. Right. Allow it to move you into action mode. Allow it to move you to create, and allow it to move you to really give birth to that thing. Girl, I'm just like motivated right now just speaking about this topic, because I really feel like once we get this understanding on the inside of us, once we start befriending our emotions and allow our emotions to teach us something about who we are, and allow our emotions to, a lot of times people like, don't let your emotions don't follow your emotions. Or it's almost to the point where sometimes we are encouraged to ignore our emotions, and we're encouraged to forget about them. And the reality of it is if our emotions weren't useful, we wouldn't have them.
Right.
Like, we didn't just come up with this idea. You know what I mean? Like,
God gave you those tear ducts.
Like, we wouldn't have them,
right.
So the heart of it is not to disregard them, but it's to understand them. It's to understand what they are meant to do. And it's literally a sense of encouragement almost to allow that emotion to create change, allow that emotion to move you to do something that you truly feel led to do. And what we have to understand is that there's only two foundations, if you will, that we can truly live our lives on, and that's love or fear, literally. And then out of that, so I saw it this way. I saw it as peace being our natural disposition. Because honestly, now I'm just like, Spirit, just allow me to receive this peace. Like, when I'm very calm, and then I'm like trying to think of something, random to worry about. It's like, no, let me enjoy this peace. Like, this is my natural disposition. And I always say that peace is seldom felt because it's natural. It's kind of like going back to, eating some bad food. Yeah. Like, we don't really know how healthy we are until some negative, I don't know if it's antibody. What's the other term for it? Not antibody. That's what helps
bacteria.
us. Yes. Until some bacteria comes inside of us, and then we're like, wow, I was really healthy. You're able to see your health in the sight of unhealthiness.
Right. Like in dismay on the toilet. You're like, oh my God, I was all right before.
Exactly. So, and the same thing is true about our peace. Again, we find comfort in uncomfortable situations, and then we believe that that's our norm. And it's really not. So just understanding that peace is your natural disposition. So when you feel peace, just bask in it. Please don't ruin it. Please don't spoil the moment by trying to come up with something really creative to worry and fret about, So there's peace. And then love and fear. Those are the only two choices, that red or that blue pill. You choose. You know what I mean? And I'm choosing love because it feels really, really good.
That's so great.
So when we, we have to recognize, well, what system of belief am I maneuvering through life on? And hopefully it's love. And the beauty in it is that if it isn't love, you can choose love today. So you have peace, then you have love, and then you have fear. So then you have, I think of thoughts as like this stream of consciousness, right? It's kind of like when you're walking down the street. When you walk down the street of Harlem, heard you, we hear a whole bunch of different conversations. We hear music, we hear conversations in different languages. We hear people, standing on the block talking. We hear all of these conversations. And I truly believe that it's the same in the realm of thought, in the realm of spirit. It's like these clouds of thoughts everywhere. And you have some positive thoughts and you have some negative thoughts. And I'm not speaking about good or bad. I'm speaking about energy. Like you have positive neutron, right. I got to do some more studying, so I'm not even going to throw out no scientific words. But you have that positive spectrum, and then you have that negative spectrum. You have that low energy, streams of consciousness, and then you have those very high, megahertz and all frequencies and all that good stuff. And we get to choose which ones we invite into our beautiful minds. And that's how I see thoughts. I see thoughts as just like this environment, this community of voices, community of thoughts, just floating out into the atmosphere. And then we are able to choose which ones we meditate on. And the amazing thing about it is that you are what you think, but you are not your thoughts.
Right.
And that's very powerful to understand, because you could have some random... over the weekend, I was like, Father, I was like, God, look. I was like, yo, human beings are funny. I'm like, how do we manage? Because you could have some real ratchet thoughts. And it's like you surprise yourself sometimes. Like, where did that come from?
Your shadow side.
It's like, hold on. Like, where did that come from? And the reality of it is that, and I don't even know all the answers, but I truly believe that we are just hovering over. Like, there are some scientific studies about how, crystals were placed inside of a little container, and there's some words that are placed in that container. And there were some high frequency words and there were some low frequency words. And the crystal that was in, and please don't, y'all gotta do y'all research. Listen, right?
She's like, don't quote me on this.
Don't, but I know it's a story.
Reiterating.
It's a story. This is true, but it might not have gone exactly how I'm saying it. So the crystals that were placed into this glass with the positive, high energy words, they turned out smooth. And then the ones that were placed in the container with the low frequency words had rigid edges, right? So you are not your thoughts, but you are what you think. And what I mean by that is that thoughts are going to come and go. They're going to come and go. But what you choose to think about and what you choose to meditate on, the word meditate is just chew on. It's like a cow, like chewing on some grass, right? And the interesting thing about what a cow does with grass is that they digest it, they regurgitate it, they chew it some more, and then they digest it again.
Right.
And that is the power of thought, because what we eat gets all into our cells, into our blood system, into our intestines. It literally consumes us. So the same is true for our minds. Like, what we pay attention to and what we listen to over and over and over again, what we speak about over and over and over again, eventually becomes us. Going back to Dr. Maya Angelou, she said, words are things. Words are things. They get into the atmosphere. They get into the environment. They get into the upholstery. They get into the furniture. They get into our clothes and eventually into us. Right. So we have to be so mindful about the thoughts that we choose to meditate on. Some people are feeling like condemned and feeling guilty about the thoughts. Don't allow the thoughts to move you. Choose what you think about. Choose what you meditate on and allow that to consume you. So just going back to our emotion, I just feel so good. Don't you feel good right now just having this conversation?
I feel like I'm in the jar with the good words.
Yes, heard you. If you're just tuning in, this is Life Club with me, Tashima Jones, and my homegirl Sunny on the boards. We are speaking about emotions. Super excited to have this conversation with you. FYI, this is a public service announcement that I am endorsing. This has nothing to do with WHCR 90.3 FM. Emotions are our friends. So just to quickly recap what we've spoken about so far. we need to live from the inside out, not from the outside in, because our mandate, our call, our purpose is to create. So how are we creating and putting into the natural environment if we are allowing our natural environment to impact us? So we have to recognize our foundation of thoughts and what is truly governing our system of belief. And that belief will impact or even like create emotion, which is energy in motion. And that energy in motion needs to move us to act, to do, to create, to be. One of the things I truly wanted to focus on was the different types of emotions that we have. And it is my truest belief that there are only two types of emotions, and they're not necessarily happiness or, anger even. It's really an issue of frequency. That's the reality of it. I think as human beings, because we are so endowed with just, intelligence, that we try to put everything in these categories, and it becomes to the point where we create too much and we lose focus and we lose purpose and true definition of a thing. So in reality, there are only two forms of emotions, and that's one of low frequency and then there's one of high frequency. And we can fall within that spectrum, And when you think about an emotion, you can feel this sense of depression, if you will.
Right.
And depression is a frequency rooted in thoughts of fear and anxiety.
That's very true.
That's good right there.
It is. It's like it's one of the lower frequencies you can go on, right?
And that's what depression is. It's something pulling you down. It's an energy pulling you down. And you can feel that. Mm-hmm. Even if it's not like a clinical diagnosis, you can feel weight. You can feel tension. You can sense that. You can feel that within your body. The same is true for happiness. You can feel light. You can feel fluffy. You can feel inspired. You can feel really, really high. Right. So let's stop putting our emotions in this box of happiness. Because honestly, happiness, is based on what happens.
Right.
Happiness is based on what happens. And you was about to have to press that red button. Things happen. You can use your imagination. That's what I was really going to say. Things happen. And if we are constantly basing our emotions and even our thoughts on what's happening, we will be on this roller coaster ride, this crazy ride of like just ups and downs, highs and lows. And the reality of it again is that allow your emotions to present to you what you're thinking. And eventually, the more you do this, the more you befriend your emotions. I don't want to necessarily say control your emotions, but you properly align your emotions. You put your emotions in their proper place, because then it becomes an issue of being led by your emotions, to allowing your emotions to be impacted by your thought life, by the system of belief. And again, that system of belief is always going to be rooted in one of two things. And I'm hoping that it is the first, which is love. But if it is not, it is based in fear. And the reality of that situation is that imagine your emotional well-being being rooted in fear. Because fear is nothing but unrest. That's all fear is. It is unrest. And when you think about, the evil things of this world, it's really just a sense of unrest. It's not something greater than love.
Right.
And sometimes we think that. Sometimes we think that the evil and the hate and all this stuff is stronger. No, it is not. It is really a system of unrest.
It is. And you need to take your power back if that's how you're operating. You have to know that love will always win. Fear is based off of things that have been embedded in you to, like you always say this, and you use that as an example to say, like, we were born whole already with the happiness, with the peace already. The other things are like gunk on us. Fear is thrown on us. It's like dirt on your clothes. You know, do the laundry, clean it out.
Heard you. I gotta do laundry today.
Right, and that's seriously though, but like weekly or however often you need to do it, depending on how dirty you get, you need to cleanse, and you need to understand that those things will be thrown at you, have been thrown at you your whole life, and that's why it's important to understand your own thoughts and not just what people tell you. You know, because some things are good. There are outside people who would tell you good things, but how do you need to receive it? You know, and that's why when you have that inner peace and you understand that is your normal disposition, that is your foundation, your base, and the other things are there to kind of like either lower you or higher you. Girl, you know what I'm trying to say.
Girl.
You know, but right.
We can make up stuff.
Right. It's our words, our world. Right. Right. But when you understand those things are there to kind of like you said, guide you, you know, and what do you do with it? That's why you have to be mindful when these things happen. Anytime you feel an emotion, even when you're getting angry or even when you're happy, there's a feeling you kind of a tingle in your chest or your stomach, wherever it is. Take that and really elaborate on what or where that came from.
Don't be afraid to stop yourself and ask, why am I feeling this way?
There you go.
And I think that is the moment, you know, there's, you know, word about not being moved by your anger. Don't let your anger move you to act in anything other than love.
Right.
And the reality of it is that we do get stirred up in our emotions. But again, it really is to reveal a passion. It's really to reveal our thought. It's really to reveal even sometimes purpose. Right. You know, so again, that whole idea of this is going to be a life course. Heard you, because we have like an hour is not enough time. But it's really about allowing your emotions to reveal what you're meditating on, allowing your emotions to reveal. And that's why, you know, I call this like just befriending your emotions, because they can truly reveal some things to you. You know, when you feel some type of way, when you're in a room with somebody, ask yourself, why do I feel this way? When that person don't text you back in the next 15 to 20 minutes, you got to say, okay, why do I feel some type of way about this?
Because you got control issues. That's why.
Hello. Or it could be a spirit of rejection.
Or abandonment issues.
Or abandonment. You know, it's like, it's such an amazing thing to really look at your emotions as that skin, as that layer that's revealing something about your thought life and something about the foundation upon which you stand. You have to befriend your emotions. You have to allow yourself to really answer those questions, you know, and my emotions have truly helped me. They've truly helped me come to this place of enlightenment, because going back to this idea of fear and living in this foundation of fear, I got tired of feeling some type of way. You know what I mean? It's kind of like allowing this stomach ache to just last for 10 years. It's like, you got to get tired of that stomach ache and ask, what am I digesting to make me feel this way? And how do I get rid of it? Talking about, you know, detoxing and cleansing. Literally, there are times when I am moved to just sit in the shower and allow myself to be clean spiritually and emotionally, because things get on us throughout the day. You know what I mean? Thoughts that shouldn't be there kind of find their way into your system of belief and your system of thinking. You have to truly cleanse yourself. And it's not talking about something that's weird or out of this world. It's literally bathing the spirit man. It's literally bathing yourself as you would your physical body. I truly believe that, you know, earth and the natural realm is just a reflection of what the spirit world is. Right. And just like we have this natural physical form, we have this spiritual body, and it's composed of our thoughts, and it's composed of our beliefs, and it's composed of our emotions. And in order to be in alignment, we have to be in alignment, spirit, soul, and body. And that's when you give birth to beautiful things. Right. When all three of those entities are in alignment, and the emotions are a huge part of that alignment. Yeah. If they really are. Again, y'all just gonna have to get the life course, because I have so much more to say, but I'm looking at this board and I'm like, all right, we gotta wrap up soon. I know. All right, Sunny, where can everybody find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram under I am Sunny Savage.
Yes, and my name is Tashima Jones. You can find me on tashimajones.com. All of my social media and contact information can be found there. Until next time, remember your greatness. I almost forgot. Remember.
Ooh.
I was about to say own your greatness.
Hey,
Heard you.
switch it up. Own it.
So remember your greatness. Talk soon. I am Tashima Jones, and you've been listening to Life Club. Thank you for tuning in.